Hi, we're Maddie and Nico, and we are turning this empty cargo van into this tiny home on wheels. We have no building experience, but we'll take you along each step as we transform our 2020 Ford Transit van.
Today I've spent way too much time trying to build a propane box. This is the second time we've done it. First one was a little too small, and then we couldn't actually get it in this.
There's no way to put it in this cabinet.
If you're building a van and you need a propane box, build it with your cabinet if you're building it into your cabinet. It'd be way easier. We have the base piece that goes down in here. It's gonna sit flush against this wall and this toe kick, and everything is resting on top of this piece, not on the side of it. So I got a back piece that goes up to here, side piece up to the ceiling, and then here I have a piece with a hole cut out, and then we'll have a door that seals onto it. So I'm gonna start pocket holing everything and trying to get it all together. Next step in our propane box is going to be drilling a hole through the floor. I'm going to drill a pilot hole just to make sure where I'm going down through the floor I'm not hitting one of the frame rails down there. There should be this nice big open area that we scoped out already, so I think it should be fine, but I just want to double check. Here we are under the van, and there is my drill bit right there, which is perfectly right in the middle of that big space. So now I'll go ahead and cut the bigger hole. Just got a hole through the van. Since it's metal, I need to file it down before I put some plastic through that hole so it doesn't mess it all up. But this is what we got. There's a hole. What's up, guys? It's the next day. Today I am going to put some silicone into our propane box to actually make it airtight. Just got done siliconing the inside of our box. It looks pretty messy, but I think it'll be airtight, so we'll call it good. In order to cut your propane line, you need this copper cutter. You basically tighten a little bit, you spin it around, and then you repeat that process until it's cut. So you tighten, and spin. Next, you want to take that same tool and deburr the cut line you just made. After deburring, you're going to flare out the end of your copper lines with this tool here. An important note is to load on your flare nuts before making this flange, or else you can't get them on. Once you have pieces together, you can start attaching them. Here I am mounting it to the back of our oven. And here I am cutting a hole for the bulkhead fitting. You can see it on the right hand side right there. Okay, I just struggled for way too long with this regulator situation, but I'll show you what's going on. So there's a propane tank. Basically, it's gonna come through here, through the solenoid, up through the regulator. This regulator is a vertical mount, and the weep hole is right down here. So that's gonna leak right down into the hole we have cut out, if it is gonna ventilate. And then we got our out coming out to our bulkhead fitting, which we got that mounted up today as well. Got 2 rubber washers on, one here and then one over there. Seal it up, and it goes into our tea, up to the stove, or into the hot water heater. So today's exciting because we just filled up our propane tank for the first time, and we are going to do a leak test. And how we do that is I got a bottle of just water and Dawn soap. So you spray it on every connection we made, turn on the propane, and just see if any little bubbles pop up. That means we're leaking, so we'll have to either tighten or redo whatever. I'm going to start spraying these. Okay, so I am turning that on. Now I'm going to turn on our solenoid, and now we check for leaks.
Oh, there's a leak.
Where?
It's bubbling on that one. All those are leaking.
Okay, so that one and that one are definitely leaking. And this one. I just went back and tightened this one, this one, this one, and that one. And now we have no more bubbles.
Should spray.
We're looking pretty good.
Spray everything again, just to be sure.
Alright, first time turning on our stove. We just did a leak test. I gave it a thumbs up. So here we go. Let's do it.
Oh, there it
Look
is.
at that.
It works.
Hello from the future. I am reporting back on our propane solenoid. I don't know if we mentioned this before, but it wasn't working. We could have our switch that we wired right here to turn on the propane solenoid. So when this light's on, it feeds propane to our stove here. And when it's off, it should shut off propane fully. So you shouldn't be able to turn this on, and these would burn for as long as we turn this valve off. Which meant our propane solenoid did not work. So I just took it apart. I thought we were gonna have to buy another one, and we posted on a group and they said clean it out. So I cleaned it out with compressed air, put it all back together. Still didn't work, didn't do anything. So I took it apart yet again, and then taking it apart this time, the pieces of the whole solenoid fell apart. So I put that all back together, and now it's actually working. So hopefully it will last more than, you know, just a couple months, but I guess we'll see. So I wanted to give you a quick little rundown of our propane locker, since I didn't really show it in its full form. It has this front door, which you saw me put on. And then what you didn't see is I put these latches up top. So those are latches that when you're actually latching it, the further you push this up that way, the tighter this door smashes down onto the box. So this flips down like that. You saw me put on my rubber sealant. This is about 1.5 years later, and this stuff has started to not stick as well. I do have more, so I could just redo this. We have a 10-pound propane tank. So this is half of the size of like a normal barbecue propane tank. This lasts us, I don't know, 2-3 months. we have these lines. They show you how much propane is left. Like I said, this is a year and a half later, and I will say the line that we bought originally started leaking. It leaked from like right about here. So we ordered up some new lines. We do have a propane alarm down there, and that when this leak was happening, that alarm would go off all the time. So that's kind of how we figured out we had a leak in here. Other than that, the solenoid that you saw me took apart because it wasn't working, that has happened once more. I took it apart again, put it back together, and it worked. I think maybe it just gets a little piece of dirt in there. The solenoid can't flip up and down, so you just got to take it apart, clean it, and it works again. The regulator we bought failed as well. It wasn't feeding propane to our oven or stove or our gas heater, so we just ordered a new one of those, and it works fine now. One thing I didn't mention when you're doing all your solenoid connections and stuff like that, you want to use the yellow thread sealant for propane. That will give you a nice solid seal. Other than that, it's been working well. We still don't have any leaks here. I guess I didn't really show you this, but if we needed to, say, work on our propane heater, which is in the next cabinet to the left, we can turn this valve, shut off the propane to that area. Even though we can shut off the propane here, we figured it'd be a good idea to have shut-off valves in case we needed to shut off the water heater but still use the oven and stove. We have another ball valve up here, and then that T, which goes into what's called a bulkhead fitting, which just allows you to basically go through a wall. In this case, it's just a piece of plywood. Now, if you plan on getting one of these, this one's from Greystone. It's a 17-inch oven with a 3 propane burner up top for the stove. So it's a 17-inch oven, which is pretty small. It holds not too much, but we are able to cook basically whatever we need in here. You just can't do a lot at a time. I will say this oven is slightly annoying. When you turn on the oven and it's preheating, it sometimes just cuts off the gas. I'm not really sure why, so if you know why, please let me know, because if I could figure this out, that would be lovely. You think you're preheating the oven, and then you look at it and it hasn't been doing anything. So that's kind of annoying. And then the sparker for the oven, it takes a while for it to start, which is annoying. All in all, we like this oven, but there are some drawbacks. I don't know if it's just ours or if we can fix this. Please let me know. It has this glass lid that comes down. When we're actually driving, we put towels underneath the glass because it does get shaky and rattly. Another thing we do when we're driving, especially on bumpy roads like this, it's a little bit loose. I wish it would seal up more so it couldn't move. But we also just put a towel kind of like that, so it stops the shake noise. As for our propane heater, this is really nice. It heats water in about 5 seconds, so we're not wasting too much water when we're getting hot water. I will link everything down below if you want to check out what we are using. But for us, I think this is one of the best ways to heat water in a van. You can do electric heaters, but those use a bunch of energy, so this is probably the cheapest and best method to do this. And if you're worried about condensation, I wouldn't worry too much about it. What we do when we're using this, we just have this cabinet open like this so there's air, and then we also turn on our fan, so there's nice ventilation, and we haven't experienced any wetness down here. That's basically the whole propane system. If you are going to do a propane system in your van, I'd recommend doing something like us, where you keep your whole propane system just right here. Ours spans across, I don't know, maybe 3 feet. I've seen other vans have propane locker way in the back, which means you have to run a long line. And honestly, one of the hardest parts about the propane is doing the copper fittings. It's just kind of finicky to bend and make sure you get them in line with each other. So if you can, I'd keep it contained to just one little cabinet area like us. Thank you so much for watching this video.
Be sure to give it a like and a comment below, and make sure you're subscribed to our channel. We come out with new videos almost every Sunday, and we're almost done with this van build, so thank you so much for being here.